Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to jump into a little tip here about rows and how we can tweak our technique to get a better contraction on the back to help us grow bigger, wider lats. Now this is something I find a lot of people do, even more advanced lifters and intermediates, not just beginners, is that when they're doing rows, they're not pulling on the right line of pull so that they're not matching the angles of the muscle fibers, not getting that big stretch and that great contraction. So this is something I find people mess up with, not only in dumbbell rows, barbell rows, but also in machine rows. So I'm gonna show you guys how it looks on a supported seal row. But again, you can do this with dumbbells. You can do this even with some of the machines, and how we wanna think about where we're pulling the weight to. But before we dive in, make sure you guys comment below any questions you have about the rows, and then also subscribe. We'll be doing a lot of these videos here talking about how to refine your technique. So let's jump in. So we want to remember how the lats work. So we want to think about when we're doing this is as we're rowing, a lot of times people will get set up and they just kind of pull straight up against gravity on that 90-degree angle from the ground. But the lats themselves have a little bit of a flaring forward. So I want to think about, as I'm doing this, I'm kind of reaching in front. I'm letting my shoulder blades protract, kind of come forward around my rib cage, spreading those lats. And to do that, I have to almost reach out a little bit in front of me, whether I'm doing a barbell row, bent over row, dumbbell, whatever it is. You can see I'm kind of out here. I'm really feeling that stretch across my upper back. And then as I'm pulling, instead of pulling straight up, where I use a lot of my forearms and my rear delts, I'm going to think about pulling it back on an angle, driving my elbows and my pinkies to my hips. What that's allowing me to do is get the lats to open and then come down on that same angle that they want to pull. So if you have access to like a T-bar row or something where it's a machine and it's set on a path, it's still the same idea, right? So on this one here, the angle kind of matches for you. And on this one specifically, like a T-bar, because it's the anchor point is back here, so it's going to come on this angle. But still, sometimes people think about kind of pulling up, right? And if we pull up high here, we're going to get more rear delt, trap all through there. But I want to think about driving my pinkies again, kind of back on this angle. So I'm pulling them back here versus pulling up, and that will help you shift it from the rear delt more into that lat. We want to think about pulling more on an angle here, matching this. And then if you're in a dumbbell situation, it'd be the same idea. We want to think about, again, when I'm bent over at that 90, I'm not pulling straight up. It's more of an angle. And then lastly, if you were doing a barbell row, same with the dumbbell here, you want to think about obviously keeping your back parallel to the ground. But I actually think about letting it reach out a little bit in front of me. And I'm really letting those shoulder blades flare and come around my rib cage. And then I'm pulling it back. Now where I pull it to, I might hit my stomach on some of these. I want more mid-lower lat. Might pull it up to the sternum, a little more mid-upper back. And then if I was to pull it straight up through here, I'm really not even getting too much lat on that. I'm getting a lot more rear delt. So kind of more like a face pull. So when you're doing your rows, you want to think about that. It's not just pulling straight in. It might have a little bit of an angle. So try these out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, any questions you have. But remember, when doing these, applying it to any row really, is let those shoulder blades protract. Let them come up and around the rib cage, flare them. I really think about, they're like my wings, right? I'm trying to grow my wings. I open my wings up. And then to pull them back, I got to kind of tuck them down. So I'm reaching up and I'm tucking them down the back. And again, this is if you want to hit your lats. If you're really trying to hit your rear delts, then yeah, you want to keep them up there and you want to be more of like a face pull. But if you're not feeling your lats in rows, try this out.